Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. The European Union hits out at Trump accusations against Zelensky. EU spokesman says Ukraine is a democracy, but Putin's Russia is not. Arab leaders to meet in Saudi Arabia on Friday to counter US President Trump's Gaza takeover plan. Delhi gets a BJP government after 27 years. Rekha Gupta sworn in as Chief Minister, becomes second woman BJP CM of India's national capital. In a strong rebuttal to former US President Donald Trump's remarks, the European Union has defended Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, rejecting Trump's claim that Zelensky is a dictator who refused to hold elections. EU spokesman Stefan de Keersmaker emphasized that Ukraine is a democracy, Putin's Russia is not. The statement comes after Trump's comments on Wednesday, in which he criticized Zelensky's leadership amid Ukraine's ongoing war with Russia. US President Donald Trump said Wednesday that the Russians have the cards in any negotiation to end the conflict with Ukraine after branding Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator who refused to hold elections. Trump also, in fact, warned Zelensky to move fast to secure peace or risk losing his country. Trump's remarks were criticized by European leaders expressing their support for Ukraine. Here's a report.
As efforts to secure peace in Ukraine continues, the war words between US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky shows no sign of abating. Trump called Zelensky a dictator without election. The comments came after Ukrainian president accused him of living in a Russian disinformation bubble. Trump warned Zelensky to move quickly to secure peace or risk losing his country.
I think the Russians want to see the war end. And I really do. But I think they have the cards a little bit because, you know, they've taken a lot of territory. So they have the cards.
Trump further said that the Ukrainian leader has done a terrible job and could have come to talks with Russia in Saudi Arabia if he had wanted to.
Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably maybe he wants to keep the gravy train going. I don't know what's the problem, but he hasn't been able. He's very upset that he wasn't invited. He could have come if he wanted to, but that he wasn't invited to Saudi Arabia.
Zelensky's 5-year term ended in 2024, but Ukrainian law does not require elections during conflicts. Donald Trump's harsh comments quickly grabbed global attention, with many European leaders voicing for Ukraine. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke to the Ukrainian president on Wednesday and expressed his support for President Zelensky as Ukraine's democratically elected leader and said that it was perfectly reasonable to suspend elections during conflict time. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz also said that it is false and dangerous to deny President Zelensky his democratic legitimacy. Meanwhile, Zelensky says that he's counting on unity and courage from his compatriots and pragmatism from the United States. He also mentioned his meeting with U.S. envoy for Russia and Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, on Thursday.
I
rely on Ukrainian unity, on our Ukrainian courage, on our relation with partners, on our European solidarity, and on America's pragmatism, because America needs success just as much as we do. Success brings us together. Our meeting with General Kellogg is scheduled for tomorrow, and it is crucial for us that this meeting and overall cooperation with America is constructive.
Домовились працювати разом і надалі.
Earlier on Wednesday, France held the second round of talks to discuss Ukraine and European security, but has this time invited European countries not present earlier this week and NATO ally Canada.
Έχω μιλήσει πολλές φορές για την ανάγκη.
Unfortunately, recent developments and the different view of things from the United States now oblige us not only to face the truth, but to move at a very high speed and implement decisions that we have been discussing for a long time. Whether we are talking about the establishment of a defense policy that will allow Europe to project different power itself without being permanently, completely dependent on the United States, a crucial issue for our country.
Είτε μιλάμε για την συγκρότηση μιας αμυντικής πολιτικής.
Meanwhile, US is expanding consultation process as French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is set to visit Washington next week amid other meetings to discuss the Ukraine crisis. Ayushi Bhatnagar's report for DD India.
The Kremlin confirmed that discussions on a potential Russia-US prisoner swap are back on the agenda. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov said in recent talks in Riyadh, in fact, helped improve relations between the two nations. The development comes after Moscow released American citizen Caleb Byers with at least 10 other Americans still imprisoned in Russia.
A decision was made to get to resuming the Russian-American dialogue on all parameters. Of course, this topic is on the agenda for bilateral relations, so this cannot be ruled out.
Russia launched a large-scale air attack on Kyiv, with Ukrainian forces intercepting drones targeting the capital. Kyiv's mayor reported drone debris in one district, but no casualties or damage. The attack included 161 drones and missiles hitting energy infrastructure in Kharkiv and Odessa. It marks an intensified attack on Ukraine's power systems as Russia discusses war negotiations with the new US administration under Donald Trump. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez will visit Kyiv on Monday to reaffirm Spain's support for Ukrainian democracy and President Volodymyr Zelensky. The announcement comes as Zelensky met Donald Trump's envoy, Keith Kellogg, after Trump labeled him a dictator over delayed elections. Sanchez emphasized that peace in Ukraine is essential for European security, but ruled out sending Spanish troops. His visit coincides with the third anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A potential trade war is brewing between the United States and the European Union. The EU has issued a strong warning to Washington, vowing to respond firmly and swiftly if US imposes new tariffs on European goods. But is there still room for negotiation? DD India's Harshita Oberoi reports.
It's a standoff that threatens to snowball into a terrible economic avalanche which can engulf everything in its wake. Impact is sure to be felt by businesses, workers, and consumers on both sides of the Atlantic. Europe has made it clear it will not back down if Washington moves forward with tariff hikes.
To protect European interests, we will have no choice but to respond firmly and swiftly. But we do hope to avoid this scenario, meaning the unnecessary pain of measures and countermeasures, and remain committed to constructive dialogue.
A sudden unilateral move from Washington could trigger a trade war, disrupting exports and economic stability, something neither side can afford.
With regards to EU-US trade relations, the overall picture is very balanced, providing a robust level playing field for businesses on both sides of the pond. The average EU duty on US goods is 0.9%, whereas EU exports to the US face an average tariff of 1.5%. For certain products, the level of duties varies, but tariff peaks exist on both sides.
If Washington moves forward, multiple sectors will bear the brunt. Germany's car industry is already raising alarm bells, warning that higher tariffs could lead to steeper costs for American drivers. Meanwhile, European officials stress that both sides need to act responsibly. The EU is leaving the door open for negotiation.
So if we are going to talking about lowering the tariffs, even eliminating the tariffs, let's say for industrial products, this would be something which we are ready to discuss. We are ready to go for it. We are ready to discuss.
US President Trump has threatened sweeping reciprocal tariffs on allies and adversaries alike. The White House is reportedly considering new levies tailored to each trading partner based on their existing duties on American goods. The stakes are high. The EU and US together account for nearly 30% of global trade. That dominant share might also become one of casualties of the tariff war. Harshita Oberoi, DD India.
Hundreds of people gathered on Thursday as Hamas handed the bodies of 4 hostages to Israel, including the 2 youngest captives taken by Hamas in their October 7, 2023 attack. The returned bodies include Kafir Bibas, who was 8.5 months old when he was kidnapped by Hamas. He is the youngest of the 251 hostages taken on the day the group carried out its terror attack on Israel. The Israeli military has said that it has received the hostages' bodies in Gaza. As Israel prepares for the second phase of negotiations, plans are already in motion to discuss the return of around 60 more hostages, though it is feared that fewer than half of them may still be alive.
We will begin negotiations on second phase of the hostage deal. Israel is committed to our goal to ensure the release of all our hostages. We also committed to all the objectives of the war as were decided by the Security Cabinet.
Grief and sorrow in Jerusalem as Israelis mourn the return of 4 hostage bodies handed over by Hamas earlier today. This marks the first repatriation of remains under the current ceasefire agreement. Israeli authorities will conduct full DNA tests before officially confirming the identities.
I've been wearing this for nearly 500 days, and honestly I think today is one of the saddest days of my 40 years in Israel. Not only specifically for this poor family who did not get I don't even think we thought that the babies were alive for a long time, but
it's the biggest lie. They just massacred and murdered those people. There's no mercy with those people.
Arab leaders will gather in Saudi Arabia's capital Riyadh on Friday to counter President Donald Trump's plan for US control of Gaza and the expulsion of its inhabitants. The leaders are expected to discuss a reconstruction plan counter to Trump's plan for Gaza. Friday's summit was originally planned for Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar and Jordan. However, it has been expanded to include the 6 Gulf Cooperation Council or the GCC countries and the Palestinian Authority. Trump provoked international outrage when he announced that the United States would take over the Gaza Strip, moving 2.4 million Gazans living there to neighboring Egypt and Jordan, while Egypt had said it would present a plan for a way forward. South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol appeared at the country's constitutional court on Thursday for his impeachment trial, which has entered its final stage. The court is reviewing Yoon's impeachment by the South Korean parliament on December 14 and will decide whether to remove him from office permanently or reinstate him.
탄핵 심판 종반전입니다.
The impeachment trial is now in its final stage. We already have the necessary and sufficient conditions for the Constitutional Court to remove Yoon Suk Yeol from office. Time is of the essence. We should swiftly remove Yoon Suk Yeol to save the nation. We will do my utmost until the very end to see this through.
후회합니다. 윤석열과 함께 윤석열
Yoon and his lawyers have argued that his bid to impose martial law was aimed at thwarting a legislative dictatorship by the opposition-controlled parliament. If Yoon is removed from office, the country must hold fresh presidential elections within 60 days. And still to come on this edition of DD News Live. The 4-day-long 55th Director General level border coordination conference between India's Border Security Force and Border Guard Bangladesh concludes. The 2-day Innovation Island Summit kicks off in Colombo.
timeless, boundless, and infinite. The essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture, from the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And batter Tawheed Hridoy slammed a magnificent century to guide Bangladesh to 228 all-out against India in their opening match of the Champions Trophy in Dubai on Thursday. Hridoy added over 150 runs with Ali after they were reduced to 35 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. Mohammad Shami and Harshit Rana took the first 3 wickets. Left-arm spinner Akshar Patel missed a hat-trick after India captain Rohit Sharma dropped easy catch in slips. Patel had dismissed Tanzeed Hassan and Mushfiqur Rahim off consecutive deliveries in the 9th over. Mohammad Shami was pick of the bowlers, taking 5 wickets. Shami becomes fastest Indian to take 200 wickets, overtaking Ajit Agarkar's record of reaching the mark in 133 innings. The two countries have faced each other 41 times in 50-over format, and India holds an overwhelming 32-8 advantage, while one match yielded no result. All right, and DD India correspondent Narayan joins us with match update. Hi Narayan. At one point in time, it was looking like that Bangladesh would be just able to make like 190 or 200, and that too with much struggle. They have played good when it comes to the middle overs, but Indian bowlers, they certainly have wreaked havoc on Bangladesh. You know, Mohammad Shami taking fifer, Harshit Rana also pitching in, Akshar Patel also pitching in. Tell us about the match updates and your analysis of the first innings which has taken.
Siddharth, a good fight back by Bangladesh here at one point in time. They were 35 for 5, and after that stitching a partnership of over 150 between Tawheed Hridoy and the way Zakir Ali, they stitched a fantastic partnership and helped Bangladesh to come out of that deep hole. So kudos to them, the way they played and the way Indian bowlers started the inning. Shami, the fantastic, taking another fifer. It is his 6th fifer, and only 7 bowlers in the world are there in the league to win, to have more than 5 fifer in their career. So another milestone by Mohammad Shami here. We know that what kind of bowling he did during the 2023 ODI World Cup. He was the spearhead of the Indian pace bowling attack. After that, he got injured in after the final between India and Australia in 2023 ODI World Cup, and after that he was enforced for an exile of 14 months. After that, he played Syed Mushtaq Trophy, Ranji Trophy, and also in the series against England. So everybody was questioning whether he would be the same Mohammad Shami or not. There were many, we can say, the doubts over his performance, and as we saw that he gave a mediocre performance in the series against England. But here we know that what's the trait of the great player. They always keep their best for the mega tournaments. If you talk about the tennis also, we see that sometimes Djokovic, Nadal, they were all not playing good tennis, great tennis in the league, in the normal tournaments, but whenever there comes a Grand Slam, they were a different player. Same with the Mohammad Shami, a great player. He showed that his caliber at the right time.
Definitely. Narayan, 229, do you think it would be a cakewalk for India?
We can't say that it's a cakewalk, but India has the potential to just get this target. We know that the conditions in Dubai, we know that whenever a team wins a toss, they always prefer to bat second, because the record in the Dubai International Cricket Stadium, 90% the teams which chases wins here. If you take a look at the 2021 World Cup, where 13 out of 13 matches, 12 matches were won by the team batting second, and in a recently concluded international League T20 matches, there also from the 15 matches we saw that 13 matches are won by the teams chasing the target. Same here, and we know that the potential of the Indian team in the recently concluded series against England, the way we saw Rohit Sharma back in the form, the way Shreyas Iyer played a fantastic cricket there, and same with, we can say that the way Shubman Gill was also back in the form, played fantastic cricket there. So we are hoping that it's going to be not going to be easy, but India has the potential to be there in the match.
Okay, Narayan, only time will tell which team will win this particular contest, but as an Indian fan, we will definitely hope that they will come out with flying colours. You talked about records. There is one record as well, apart from the record at the Dubai ground, that both the teams have played each other 41 times, and the record is 32-8. India won 32 encounters and Bangladesh have won just 8. We certainly hope that they come out with flying colours and we see some good numbers and some good 6s and 4s hitting out of the park and some big numbers on the board. Thank you so much. We leave it as of now. Narayan. First time MLA Rekha Gupta took oath as the Delhi Chief Minister at the historic Ramleela ground on Thursday after the Bharatiya Janata Party returned to power in the national capital after over 26 years. The grand ceremony was attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Chief Ministers and Deputy Chief Ministers of 20 states and other senior BJP leaders and workers. Besides her, 6 newly elected MLAs, Pravesh Verma, Kapil Mishra, Ashish Sood, Pankaj Singh, Manjinder Singh Sirsa and Ravinder Indraj also took oath as members of the new Council of Ministers. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the newly elected Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta and all the ministers in the new Delhi cabinet, posting photographs of the oath-taking ceremony that was held today in the national capital. In a social media post, Prime Minister Modi said that Rekha Gupta has risen from the grassroots, being active in campus politics, state organization, municipal administration and now MLA as well as Chief Minister. The Prime Minister along with other eminent politicians were present at the ceremony. The 4-day-long 55th Director General level border coordination conference between India's Border Security Force and Border Guard Bangladesh concluded in New Delhi on Thursday. This is the highest level talks between India and Bangladesh held twice every year. In the recently concluded meet, India raised a range of issues including preventing attacks on BSF personnel and Indian civilians, tackling cross-border crimes and advancing the construction of a single-row fence. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a 2-day visit to South Africa, met his counterparts from Singapore and Brazil in Johannesburg and discussed with them global developments and ways to enhance bilateral ties. EAM Jaishankar met the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Singapore and Brazilian counterpart Mauro Vieira on the sidelines of the meet. The minister will participate in the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting at the invitation of the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, Ronald Lamola. Jaishankar's participation in the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting will strengthen India's engagement with G20 countries and bolster the voice of the Global South in this important forum. The 2-day Innovation Island Summit kicked off in the Sri Lankan capital Colombo on Thursday. India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant shared his views on technology, tourism and innovation. Kant described India's growth path over the last decade that propelled India to emerge as a global powerhouse. He said that global governance will undergo a transformation through innovative partnerships, paving the path toward a future that is equitable, sustainable and prosperous.
The Innovation Island Summit symbolizes a very crucial step forward in addressing the unique challenges faced by island nations and crafting collective leadership with global resonance. By uniting our strengths, experiences, and there are many, many positive and creative experiences, by fostering innovative partnerships, we will redefine global governance and pave the way for an equitable, sustainable, and a prosperous future.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.